Yo, what's good? It's Skano from the gutter. Listen, white America, y'all gotta start being real with yourself. Y'all are largely responsible for this crime epidemic, the drug epidemic, you know, the drug trade in general. So while we discussing, crime in our inner cities, which it seems that, a lot of y'all, that shooting at me seem to think that, you know, I relate more to the urban community. So that's why I've been critical of this militarization issue. But as I said before, you're putting a band aid on a shotgun wound. Let's talk about supply and demand. Now, I think it's safe to say that a majority of the crime that's occurring in our communities in general is a result of the drug epidemic, the drug trade, drug addiction, supply and demand, right? So let's talk about Daytona Pines, Florida, Springfield, Missouri, Irontown, Ohio, Portland, Kentucky, Ashland, Kentucky, predominantly white cities, right? 97 and above, white, and highest crime rates in the country. These cities, highest death rates resulting from drug overdose in the country. So, predominantly white cities. And you say, well, what that got to do with violent crime? So you're not going to tell me it's not all interconnected. Supply and demand. Now, all the dealers ain't black now. So, regardless, though, there's a war in these, communities, off and on, for control of this drug trade. And it's long been known that America, specifically white America, loves to get high, a large percentage of them. And I can't put an exact timeline on when this epidemic truly began. I would have to say Vietnam is a good starting point. Here we are, decade by decade, it's escalated, So I just think we need to focus on the overall big picture because we're talking about symptomatic issues. So, it's not that I'm soft on crime as it applies to the urban community because I have people, I'm assuming white people, who disagree with my viewpoints and they seem to think that I more so relate to that demographic and that's why I'm critical, But as I said, it's deeper, than throwing some National Guard troops in the hood and thinking you're going to solve this drug epidemic issue. So, like I said, y'all have to be real with yourself. Y'all have an opioid addiction issue, amphetamines too, but largely opioids. And this ain't nothing new. All these drugs that are getting over here, metritons. You think people from the hood shipping them over here. You think that your agencies, Border Patrol, CIA, they ain't all involved in this. This is why I say these little tactics that he's employing, it's like pulling out the dog whistle. It's not that I'm, I would love for our communities to improve. And I'm not going to sit here and justify the gang violence. That's something different. But if we're talking about crime, as I said, we need to start with this drug epidemic issue. So, supply and demand. And this so called war against Venezuela, the cartels, but it's really about oil. So I'm saying all these different smoke screens and all these different narratives to, try to keep people blinded to the fact that white America is responsible for this drug epidemic. Y'all talking about gang violence that's, for the most part, black on black crime. Doesn't even affect white America. Why y'all jumping on my channel, talking about, make America safer again. Y'all don't have to deal with these issues. But y'all do have a drug epidemic on y'all hands. Y'all responsible for that. And that all intertwines into this. Understand that. So these gangs that have these ongoing feuds and wars over drug turf and the control of the drug trade in general, supply and demand. So having some experience in that realm of life, I do know that white people love to get high. And they come, from far and wide to get what they're looking for. Y'all largely responsible for this. So take some accountability for that. Since we're talking about crime, we need to send a National Guard into Portland, Irontown, Ohio. If you're coming to Ohio, go to Irontown, because y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, we not going to act like all the dealers in this country are black. Some white people dealing drugs out here too, But it is what it is. So apparently this comet, Three Eye Atlas, it's displaying, if y'all ain't heard about it, it's supposed to be passing right through our solar system. It's on a trajectory and path that's you know, unheard of as far as comets. It's almost like a program path. All this to say, there are people in the science field even speculating that this could be alien orientated. In other words, like a spy device, maybe even a mothership. This comet supposed to be here by what, October? But aliens. What is it with, white America and y'all fascination with alien invasion? We spend billions per year looking in the skies. Now, I ain't got no problem with you searching for comets that are on a direct path for our planet if it could destroy us. Would you want to know? If we can't do nothing about it, would you even want to know? But why are we looking for aliens? Whole time, we already been under a full-blown invasion. So this place outside of Savannah, Georgia, I think it's a Hyundai dealership that ICE just ran up in. 500 illegals. 500 in this place. I mean, they had illegals running, scrambling like roaches. I mean, jumping fences, trying to, because they had the place fully, on the rooftops, like ninjas, 500. So, I think that was like over a third of their work base. So at this stage, these corporations and companies still employing illegals. Since we're talking about crime, let's go after some of the head of these corporations. The people that's perpetuating this issue. Because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people, in that city, in that area. Hell, they probably come from, as far as who knows to get those jobs. But see these corporations with their cheap asses looking for cheap labor. 500 illegals in this place. I mean, that's not it. I mean, that's like the illegal headquarter hideout, ain't it? So, like I said, man, from the road with the truckers, it explains why, but this goes so much deeper than just, and I was going to say it explains why, these construction companies, you see a lot of these places that are going up. From what I understand, a lot of them are falling down just as quickly. You employ cheap labor from illegals who they don't know if they're even going to be here from one day to the next. You think they really putting 100% into their work? You're getting shabby work, So you got people unqualified out here driving 18 wheelers, killing people, you know. And you got, like I said, illegals over here taking up jobs that could go to Americans. I don't know if y'all noticed, but this economy is shit. So, as I said, these corporations selling us out, for cheaper labor. So until they start making these corporations, really hit them in the head, because these little fines, they don't amount to anything. This will continue, you know. There need to be some people going to doing jail time behind this shit, you know. Because if we're going to be tough on crime, let's keep the same energy. This is a threat, to American progression. So these corporations that's complicit in this shit, because you can't tell me Hyundai ain't aware there was a whistleblower, obviously, probably an employee. And I doubt it was somebody in administration or management, you know. But if you work in industry, manufacturing, construction, you may have looked up at some point and realized, certain people ain't around no more. What happened? They just up and vanish. Oh, they went back home. And, it is what it is. But like I said, man, y'all worried about alien invasion, but y'all worried about the wrong type of aliens. We've already been infiltrated, fully compromised. So it is what it is. No ops left Scano. You already know.